Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the World Explorer podcast. This is the podcast where we take up random prompt provided by my friend Isaac, who is with me in this call, and we build hello, and we build an entire world around it. Yay! Confetti.
Okay, so I was just walking around outside the other day, and then I felt like there was something that felt like a splash of water. It hit my leg like a raindrop from one of the leaves on the trees.
Yeah.
But I don't know why it felt like a raindrop, because it started poking my leg, and I realized in that spot there was a splinter. I don't know why it felt like a raindrop. There was no water. Anyway, so then that got me thinking, what if there were like bugs made of water that fly around? And that is now the basis of our world building today.
Okay,
we're starting off with bugs made of water.
So we're taking the water bug and making it literal?
Yeah, we got an actual water bug now.
And somehow this was inspired by you getting a splinter in your leg?
Yes!
Okay, I just want to get the details clear. Okay, so...
Yeah, that's where we're starting today. I don't know why when that happened, I'm like, yeah, this seems like a good thing to make a world out of.
No, I think there's
a splinter in my leg.
Well, no, we're not making it. We're not making a world out of a splinter on your leg. We're making it out of I mean, that could be a thing, but no, we're not doing that. We're doing water bugs. So, question 1, is this 100% water, or they just kind of look and feel like water?
I was thinking like they're 100% water, and they fly around.
So, they've got like water wings that flutter, and yet they all keep together?
Yes.
How?
It's magic, don't question it.
Oh, you want a magic world. It's been a while since we've done a magic world, so fair enough. So magic...
It was either that or turn them into gas-ish things to float around. They'd have to be like really small, and they'd be thin, and they wouldn't be water anymore.
Okay, so...
Let's go with magic. I like the idea of magical water bugs.
We haven't done a magic world in quite a few weeks, so I'm up for one. So here's next question. If they're being held together by magic, is this then a creature that was naturally created in a world in which magical creatures exist? Or is this a creature in which some outside source then created them for whatever reason?
I like naturally created, but maybe that'll change at some point.
Okay, we'll start with naturally created then. That's fine. I don't mind starting there. So we have water. So this is a world where water can be magically held together, and I guess it has life, but it's weird to think of water living. I mean, it's not crazy. Like, we often persona water in our strange ways, but the idea of it actually being living and having... I guess Moana did it, so, like, who are we to...
Moana will say it's the ocean. Frozen will say it's a water horse spirit. Yeah. I say it's a bug.
I was assuming there were a lot of these guys.
Okay, so...
Right? These are a normal animal? A normal site?
Yeah, this is like an animal.
Yeah. But it's a normal one. World. Yeah.
Yeah, so something I was thinking about was, maybe these guys would be very easy to kill and swat. So, like if they landed on your clothing, they would be absorbed and die because they are made of water. But they get around and they don't die because, like, if they land on something like a leaf is not absorbent.
Okay.
Or at least not very.
I personally think it should be able to hold itself together unless introduced to extreme pressure. I don't think it landing on a sponge means the sponge sucks it up, because that stuff only sucks things up if you put pressure to it. Like, it's the act of wiping and putting pressure that sucks things up.
Okay.
So, like when rain falls on you, it's putting pressure into your shirt, and your shirt's absorbing that.
Okay, so something I'm thinking is that people's fly swatters would suddenly look like a piece of cloth in a tennis racket.
Well, yeah, I was thinking this is kind of, it's almost worse than the mosquito. Because, a mosquito comes and you swat it and you get a little blood stain, you wipe off, you move on with life. But this water bug, I don't know how big it is, mind you, comes and lands on you and you swat at it, and next thing you know, your shirt is soaked.
I mean, I was thinking like maybe the size of fly or something. Maybe a little
Okay,
bit
so you
smaller.
just get, like, small spotches. Kind of like when you get out of the
It's
bathroom
like
after
rain.
washing your hand. Yeah, or something like that. Do they do anything to you?
It's kind
Like,
of like rain.
do they attack you, or are they more like the gnat?
I feel like they have to do something
Well,
to
yeah,
annoy you. Otherwise, what's the point in having a bug that does nothing?
yeah, but I was meant like, I guess let me rephrase that. What level annoyance are they? Are they the gnat or like the mosquito?
Maybe somewhere in between. Well,
Well,
then again, gnats are kind of hard to top because there's so many of them.
see, gnats I think are fine when there's just one and they're fun to watch. But yes, when you have a swarm of them, it's the worst. Have you ever accidentally walking into a swarm of gnats is awful, and I can see that happening with these water flies, because sunlight makes water see-through sometimes, or reflective. So you just are minding your business, and next thing you know, you're soaked.
Yeah, I don't actually think that these guys would actually be out on a sunny day because they could evaporate and die.
Well, okay, so that's a good point. Does that mean they're kind of tied to water sources so they can replenish their bodies?
I think so. I think that they should be primarily living near rivers, swamps, lakes, ponds,
They're sounding more like a
creeks.
mosquito more and more we talk about this.
Yeah, they are. And they don't show up on sunny days because they'll evaporate
Okay,
and
that's
die.
that's the opposite of a mosquito. They love a good warm day. Yeah.
Yeah, so
So most of the time they can be seen kind of just chilling. Well, you don't see them; they're made out of water. But okay. So
yeah.
new question then. When they is there like a thin outer layer that's not water, in which water can be like seeped in and stored, but they can maintain their shape?
Well, I was thinking maybe it's like okay, going a little bit somewhere between magic and science, water tension, like surface tension.
Yeah, but like they can submerge themselves in water. What's stopping them from becoming one with the water?
Well, I'm thinking maybe they don't submerge themselves, but rather they land like maybe on top of the surface of the water and absorb some of the water, like basically drinking it almost
Okay.
to replenish themselves.
Well, you see, water, going with the science, water has very attracted to water. So if a water lands on water, the water likes to become just more water.
Very powerful flapping of wings.
Or I guess whatever's the magic that's holding them. How are these things made? Where do they have kids?
Okay, so I'm gonna say they lay water eggs by the creek
Okay.
or something. I don't know. These are even more like mosquitoes. Mosquitoes, they go to the water to lay their eggs.
Yeah. That's why they live near water. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think the thing that's bugging me. What is giving these things life? What is their essence?
So I'm thinking that this whole world, all life in this world, would run on magic. Like, without magic, life does not exist. It is the source of life. So, for example, like, if this is what's holding the water bugs together. Without magic, they would just be water and die. And even like if a human were in this world, a human needs magic as the source of life.
Yeah. Yeah, I can. Yeah, so instead of like for humans it's blood and the heartbeat and stuff, these creatures don't need that. They just exist because something outside of them is allowing them to exist, called magic. Or
Yeah,
inside of them now.
I'm thinking like maybe there's just an innate magical force throughout this world. When you are born with magic. It's something like the Force from Star Wars, kind of.
Yeah,
The Force
except
penetrates us, it binds the world together, moves through all living things, etc.
yeah, but it's not turning water droplets into bugs.
Well, no, it's not turning water droplets into bugs. The water droplets that are bugs, when they give birth to other bugs, they are instilling those bugs with magic.
Okay, so this does seem to suggest that there was a starting point of these bugs where magic was first installed into them, and then these bugs just have ability to create enough magic to continue their line.
I mean, yeah, I guess they got to start somewhere.
Yeah. So either, like, when the world was created, this was just a part of the world, or we have some weird wizard going around giving things you wouldn't think souls. These are our two options.
So the first option is the easy option. The second option, I have that just gave me an idea that I think is really interesting for this world.
Okay, yeah.
So what if we had maybe like a society, or perhaps just like individuals who are skilled with magic? These would be like our wizards of the world.
Yeah.
Who can create life, create these creatures. And so they do actually go around making these these unique bugs, and maybe it's all like somewhat localized in this one area, not maybe the entire world, but this one area localized in, as the wizards are instilling magic into like every single thing around them, to basically like create all of this life. And so, have you seen Dragon Prince?
I don't know what that is, but it sounds like something I'd like.
Okay, so it was created by the same guy, the guys who made Avatar.
Okay.
And the guy who voiced Sokka voices the main character.
Oh, I've heard of this. I don't know where to watch it, though. Where is that? Is that on Netflix?
Netflix.
It is on Netflix. And you know what? I'm just gonna... I remember I made like a list of TV shows, and I think that was on there. I might just move that up.
Yeah, it starts off kind of slow, and like it doesn't seem all that interesting, but it gets good.
Okay, well, I still have to get through Green Eggs and Hams, but I fell behind in some other series, so I was catching up on it. I haven't had time to keep up with my media, sadly.
Yeah, neither have I. Anyway, so anyway, what I was getting to is Dragon Prince has a land that's like where basically everything breathes magic, and to an outsider going into that land, it's like, wow, this is amazing. Everything is made of magic. I think it would be something like that here, where the wizards have just gone around instilling magic into every little thing around them.
So, are these like a select people who have a gift, or can any person be trained in it?
Which one sounds more interesting to you?
I think what would make more sense is if it's a gift that then can be trained, and that way you get a specific society that's hunting for these people as well, which I always think is a fun story element. You know, I get it, being born special is cliche and overused, but sometimes it's just a good classic cliche, and I like it, and I can't help it.
Just use it well, and it stops being cliche, and it becomes a trope again.
Yeah. Being born special is personally one of my favorite cliches, especially the fantasy novel. I like a good born special fantasy novel.
Yeah, I mean, I think that both born special and work to become special have their merits, and they have their strengths and weaknesses, and I think that, like, depending on the story you're writing, both can be really interesting and really well done.
I mean, my personal favorite is you can be born special, but then you have to work for it. It's kind of why I like Star Wars so much. Is like, sure, tons of people are born with the Force, so not everyone has the Force, but those who do can't always use it. They have to be trained to use it. So you're not just born special, you then also have to be trained specially. So, and that's kind of what I think this world would do well with, is there's people who are born with this ability to produce life, but they need to be trained in it. And then, of course, you could also have the people who are... I mean, is this ability opposite? Can people also take life using it? Is that a thing we should...
I gotta say, this is sounding more and more like Dragon Prince, actually.
Look,
You haven't even seen it, and you are... a lot of what you're saying is describing Dragon Prince.
Look, I'm describing a lot
exactly,
of fantasy shows in my defense.
It is. Dragon Prince has some very commonly used tropes. It has some interesting twists and turns and stuff thrown in there.
Don't spoil anything.
But you know, it was written by the same people who did Avatar.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of to be expected. You got that sort of stuff. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I like that. I like that idea where we got where it's like you're born special with special ability to do X, but you must be trained in order to
I mean, and then we can go.
fully hone your skills.
If you're scared of going too far, Dragon Prince, we can make this could be the world where you know in the descriptions where they like compare a book, give it praise by comparing it to other stories. This story would have on its back Dragon Prince marries Star Wars and in a fantasy setting. Because you can have like the dark side and the good side and like the force that brings life, and some people are using it to take life and others to bring life. And
well, in Dragon Prince, like opening episode, they're using magic to like take life, and magic is like what often like you take the magic from a creature and you're killing it. Like they'll take magic from bugs in order to use that magic, kill the bugs in the process, and it's yeah.
I mean, but that's not.
It's a lot like Dragon Prince. It's not a lot like Star Wars. It's far more like Dragon Prince.
Well, I was referring, yeah. But I don't think that's what
it's okay.
I want to
keep going with this.
I want to know.
Make it different enough.
I want to know. I don't think what we're doing. I don't think they're taking magic from life. I think they're either taking life or they're adding life. I'm not sure they're actually gaining anything or losing anything from doing this.
I think that what they're doing is maybe like the Force, how magic flows through all things. They take that magic and then they just channel it into an object and give life to that object.
Or take life. But I don't think, like, by taking life, they're gaining the power of that creature. Or anything like that. I don't think that's a thing. I think they can use the magic instilled them. I think it takes just as much magic to put life into something as it does to take life. Either way, you're using up your magic. You're not gaining any magic no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
Because, I always found that really weird when people are like, when you take life, you're then gaining their life force and stuff like that. I'm like, but what's the cost of taking the life? Like, they seem to get more powerful than the life before them, and that to me makes no sense. You are using energy to kill something. You're losing something here. Sure, it might seem like you're gaining their power, but there's no way that power should be as powerful as it was. So, like, these pass it down by killing things always bugs me, because I feel like it should be getting weaker.
Rise of Skywalker.
What? What?
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, it should get weaker as it goes.
Yeah, I like that, where it's like, you actually have to spend just magic to remove magic from an object.
You can't take the magic, you can only kill it, I guess is what I'm saying. There's no taking it. You're just you either kill it or
once you like remove the magic from an object, like the water bugs, the magic sort of like dispels into the air around it and becomes one with the rest of the magic in the world. And so like you can take magic from like just sort of the air around you and channel that, which would be far more efficient than trying to get it from a creature.
Yeah.
However, I mean, no, that's still going too far, Dragon Prince. Never mind. Ignore what I was... Yeah.
I hate it. This world... Okay, maybe we should go back to focusing on the animals, because I think that's what really is going to set this world apart. Because right now we have it's 100% water, but it's living. And that, I think, is what's really making this world stand apart. So should we keep it with, like, organic stuff, or do we have things like they can touch a rock and suddenly the rock can, like, roll on its own?
I don't see why not. You instill that magic with rock, it's now alive. Or you instill magic into that rock, it's now alive.
Okay, so here's the difference, though, between rocks and water. Water can take on the shape of anything you want, so it makes sense, like, hey, I'm now a water bug, and I'm cool like that. But a rock... So would the rock then, like, when they're instilling life into it, would it morph as well? Like, would the rock change shape to whatever creature it's going to be?
I think that if you were to just instill life into a single rock, it would just be that one rock and maybe it can roll around. But I think what these wizards would be more likely to do is instill magic into a pile of rocks, and then those rocks can take the shape of some sort of creature by like all rolling together and forming something. Like maybe it would be like you have like one core rock. I'm thinking of Stone Talus from Breath of the Wild,
Yeah,
You know what I'm
or
talking
even
about there? Okay.
Frozen and the trolls sometimes like to like blend themselves together.
Yeah, something like that. Or the rock monster from VeggieTales Pirates Who Don't Do Anything.
Yep,
That's a reference.
yep. I got that reference. Okay,
Yes.
so alright, so we're thinking so how do the rocks like see? Or are they just feeling around? Do they bump into things a lot?
Um, I think that either
Maybe
I
they
think that
feel?
they could be blind, or maybe they can just have a sort of a sense of the stuff around them. They don't have any
Yeah.
single eye. Maybe they have rocks that form eyes.
I don't think that makes much
Um,
sense though. But then again, like what about the water creatures? Do they have eyes? Do they have mouths? Like I know they're
I
sucking
mean, I
water
don't
back
see
into
why
themselves.
not.
Yeah, but water forms itself, so rocks would they I mean, that's the weird thing about like how far does this magic go? Does it go to the point where it creates fully functioning like eyes and ears or something? And in which case, what would qualify one material not getting the same as the other materials? We need
I
rules.
mean,
Our magic system seems a little loosey right now.
I think that like uh you when you're instilling magic into something, like maybe you have like the option of giving it things like eyes and ears and mouth and all this. But
Okay.
when you're doing that, um, you have to have some way of forming those eyes, ears, and mouth, etc. So, for example, when you're enchanting a pile of rocks, you need maybe two small flat stones to form eyes that just sort of like basically magnetize themselves to the head of the
Okay.
rock, to the core rock or
Or
something.
if you don't want it for eyes, you could leave it as a normal rock, but just give it the ability to sense vibrations and use that to know where things are.
Yeah. Or you could even like I would say something interesting would be it can change. You can make it so that the entire pile of rocks can shift and change its own form and give the different rocks different purposes. Like for example, if it's made up of a lot of gravel,
Yeah.
it could, in theory, like maybe split up its eyes, where it has two eyes made up of small patches of gravel. Maybe split them up and then put eyes in the back of its head at will. Even if they
Yeah.
just be smaller eyes. Maybe they don't see as well.
So actually, what I'm thinking here is like I think giving for these people who are born special, I think use bringing life to things is actually the easy part. I think the part that needs a lot of training and stuff is actually making something that will last. So, for example, for the water bugs, you act you think about like what goes into creating a creature that's actually going to survive in the world. Like the water bugs, you have to be able to realize you have to have so many trials and errors to get these water bugs to be like stable and reproduce and like be on its own. Because I can imagine so many failed attempts. Like, for example, you were just saying, oh, they can just fill up the water, but like the first person to create a water bug might not think about the fact that they touch the water, they're just going to get sucked into it. And then the next rounds they have to do it again and stuff. And I could see like one person with this gift spending their entire life just making one creature that then can outlive them. You know,
Yeah, I like that, but I'm thinking that maybe is this a thing where people will do this sort of like as a hobby? Yeah, these wizards will just sort of like as a hobby go and create life or what? Because I feel like a lot of this would be driven by one of two things. Either one is the desire to live in a world where you're filled with all these interesting creatures, um, or and the other one, and the other reason might be maybe they've got some sort of a religion where it's like we must create life to fill the world
I mean, but there's
for
also
some
like
greater purpose.
necessity. Yeah. You know, like having a creature that does something. Because think about like a water bug. If you make it so the water bugs reproduce a lot, I mean, this seems like a horrible thing to create an animal for, and but at the same time, like we eat meat, so the idea that you can get these huge swarm of water bugs and then have them transported safely to places which don't have much water and be able to disperse them without the need of like human interaction, like you can just automatically disperse them where they need. water that will go where you need without people having to like drive trucks or anything like that has a very big use, and then they just swat the bug and drink it.
I Yeah, I guess that's possible. Like I see like something that might be a really interesting way that people get a source of water. Like they're thirsty and they're just walking through the forest. They get swarmed by water bugs. They just take a bottle or a jar or something, scoop them up, cork the bottle, shake it. It kills the bugs, and now they've got a bottle of water.
See, that's like another thing I didn't even think about. These things are fresh water sources wherever you go. You never have to worry about running out of a clean water source and having to drink like a dirty puddle or a dirty river, because I guess like one aspect about these bugs is that they are water. They don't take up the dirt and grind and like the germs that are normally in rivers and stuff. They're a natural purifier. So
yeah. I imagine like one of the wizards or somebody's like just, or really anybody could be breeding these in their home. They just have a little barn set up in their home, and then every once in a while they'll have like maybe some sort of funnel system that goes to like a bottle. He just like detaches the bottle, make sure it's corked enough so he can get out when he detaches it, shakes it. He's got fresh water.
oh my gosh, like how bottle companies, and they're all about, oh, we're made from freshwater streams. He could have a bottle company made out of bugs. There could be a water company of bug water.
There could be. Like where they just farm a bunch of these water bugs.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I want to see you make a bug water bottle.
But imagine if you're in this world, like this is again like a localized sort of thing, where most people, if they want purified water, they gotta go and they gotta like try and filter their water the best they can, or boil it and all this different stuff. But then this person takes a journey into this land where everything is filled with magic, goes over to like a wizard's home or something, or it's really anybody's home who has one of these little farms in their home. It's like, here, have some water. They drink it, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is the purest, greatest tasting water I've ever had.
Well, pure water honestly tastes terrible, I just want to tell you. Like, if you purified water, it's gross. You need minerals and stuff to clean it.
It doesn't have, that's true, it doesn't have any minerals.
Yeah, but that's something like the wizards can ask.
Okay, so they'll say, this is interesting water. Like, yeah, it's the purest water you can get. How'd you get such pure water? Well, really what it is you're drinking bugs.
Yeah.
And then he shows it, and he looks over and he sees the bug farm and just spits it out.
It's like, nope. But maybe this not all of their magic is localized. I think their experiments are localized. Like
again, magic flows throughout the entire world, but their experiments are localized.
Yeah, but I also think when they get something super successful, they would want to share it with others. So I feel like these water bugs, they're only really successful because they're the first thing we've developed, and they're the only good thing we have developed. We kind of have rocks, but we don't have uses for them yet. So I imagine these water bugs, they can reproduce on their own. You can make farms of them. You don't really have to worry about their population getting too crazy because they're really easy to like squash, both literally and figuratively. Like I imagine they made it so their eggs are easy to find, so you could like kill if they get too much, you can die them down, and also they don't harm you, they just make you wet. So there's that. Like, they're not going to cause any. Yeah, they just make you wet. That they've made these creatures that are going to do great in this society. They're going to do well. Like, animals are going to love them as well, because fresh water that they can like snack on the go, it's great for them. So they start introducing them into other ecosystems and see how they survive in different ecosystems, and then start spreading it into the like quote-unquote non-magical sections of the world. So I feel like this is a world that has a lot of magical creatures throughout it, but all their magical creatures have stemmed from this one place of experimentation and innovation, in which these creatures are, you have version 1, version 2, version 3, version 5827. Eventually this fire bug will stop setting fire to the house. Stuff like that.
Yeah, we can have literal lightning bugs now.
Yeah, as someone is still trying to make fire a safe light source, living light source, and it's just never worked. But he's determined. But
Well, there's your outcast of the society. It's like you keep creating all of these dangerous experiments without thinking about the consequences. Leave now and go be a hermit on top of your mountain.
yeah, true.
And then people occasionally look up at the mountain, they see like flashes of light and smoke just bellowing from it.
I mean,
As it
but
keeps
that's
trying dangerous experiments.
I mean that's also like a good story element. I mean, if you don't want a true villain, is that you can have this person who's doing these experiments, which, the normal person would realize are probably stupid and you probably shouldn't do, but someone who's so stuck in the mindset of innovating no matter the cost, which is can be a very dangerous mindset, is creating these things, and this person who maybe he's taken as like a mentor, as like a trainee or something, is like looking at this guy like, you gotta stop, you gotta calm down, or is dealing with, honestly, it sounds like a fun TV show, okay, where you have like this cool magical main city, and that's where you intro the show. You're going through the city and it's epic, and then you pan up to this mountain that's like all by itself and alone, and it's just this guy making weird things, and the TV show is about the assistant to this guy who has to deal with all his crazy creations and is learning how to use his own magic and power for good, as this mad scientist of a guy is setting fire to the world sometimes, and then you can add in other elements like a society that's trying to kill creatures or wants nothing to do with magical creatures, so they're using their magic to stop it, and like things like that. That seems like a fun TV show.
Yeah, I think there's all kinds of different story elements and trophy characters that you can pull from this. And you can also have a story where maybe there was a point in time where this magical part of the world shared its magic with the rest of the world, but then something happened, some big event happened that caused them to cut themselves off from the rest of the world.
Oh, that's true.
And now everybody outside of their borders are left with like little bits of magic, but they're always sitting there wondering, what's it like within the borders of this magical land? And then somebody, maybe your main protagonist, finds a way to get through their magic walls, whatever they got, and enters this magic land. And it's like, wow, this place is pretty awesome. And then goes and meets the experiment guy, who then unleashes an experiment that accidentally blows a hole in the magic wall, and then all of the bugs and magic rocks and walking trees start wandering out, and whatever else there is.
Yeah.
And maybe this could be like a part of a story where it's like, oh, look, you brought chaos in the world, but also we're seeing that some of these things are really helpful towards the world, but also some of these are burning down cities.
Yeah. Honestly, this feels like the intro movie to the TV series. You know how some series do that? They start with the movie and then they go to the TV series? That's what that sounds like the whole breaking in, and then the TV series afterwards is him befriending the mad scientist, for lack of a better term, and their wacky adventures, slowly introducing the outside world to this magical world. I like it. I want to watch it.
This could be such a fun series.
And the animations would be so cool, because like you could do anything with these creatures. You could have whatever the heck you want.
When you say that literally anything you draw now is infused with magic, like the plants, the rocks, the bugs, animals, like everything is now infused with magic, and it's come to life. You can have so much fun with that.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to see it. It sounds so cool. I want to see the city before it got blown up. I want to see the chaos when they're unleashed, and then I want to see the slow blend of the two through this one protagonist's eyes, as the mad scientist does everything unintentionally. Like, it's a good heart. He's got a good heart. He's got good intentions. He's just, he breathes life before he thinks.
Interesting idea for like sort of a formula that you use for this story is mad scientist guy wants to make something really cool, doesn't think it through, unleashes it on the world, it starts causing chaos. They now need to find a way to stop it. And in the process of them trying to find a way to stop it, they find an actual home for it or area where it could actually do something good, work well, be beneficial to society, and then they instead try to figure out how to redirect its energy into that particular area. Something kind of like the Lilo and Stitch TV series.
Honestly,
Have you
that's
seen that?
exactly, yes, that was exactly what I was thinking. It feels like
Yeah, where it's
Lilo
like
and
they
Stitch.
find the experiments and then they give them a home and a purpose somewhere in Hawaii.
Only this is you can go to an older audience and it's magic creatures instead, which a bit more dramatic.
Yeah, which thinking back to that Lilo and Stitch, I
It was
haven't
a
seen
good
it in
series.
years, but
I liked it.
thinking back to it,
It was,
there's some disturbing stuff in that show.
yeah,
The,
but I liked
the
it.
one alien, French fry, he was gonna feed Lilo and Stitch, get them extremely fat. He turned them into these giant balls of fat, and then was gonna eat them. And that's disturbing thinking back to it.
Yeah, but I still enjoyed the show as a kid. I want to rewatch it since it's on Disney Plus. I'm gonna sit down and watch that eventually.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I started rewatching like the first episode. I don't think I finished it. One of the things that really made me turn away from it was they threw something that I expected to have a loud crash and there was no sound effect. And I'm like, well, that seems like you took some shortcuts.
Well, okay,
It like story or voice actor or anything like that. It's just you left out a sound effect, and I'm disappointed.
Wow, that's some high standards there. One missed
It is, but it was like a really big object that should have made a loud crashing sound, and then there was nothing. And I'm like, where was it?
Yeah, well, I still want to watch it for nostalgia's sake, and also I remembered none of the episodes, but I remember enjoying them. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
not sure
remember
what that
enjoying
means.
them as a kid, but I was also comparing, in general, I was comparing the writing to the the movies and stuff. I'm like, wow, the movies are way better.
I don't doubt that, if memory serves right, but I still think it'll be enjoyable to rewatch. But, I've got 2 Netflix series I have to get through first before my family decides to cancel that. And then I can go back to, Disney Plus series. We've spent
Okay, let's
some time.
speedrun some fun animal ideas.
I
Kinda
agree.
like we
That sounds
did
good.
with the jungle world.
We'll go back and forth. You start.
Okay, so let's say that, a wizard decided he was going to combine a bunch of elements. He combined maybe some sticks and stones, and created the only creature that keeps coming to my head is something like a timber wolf made of wood, but I'm stealing that. I'm stealing that from My Little Pony.
Okay, well, I've got one. Well, I was thinking you could have they're called the movable bridge, and it's these the movable bridge, and they're just these planks that have the ability to stick to each other, and they wander about. And when someone needs a bridge across something, they can come over and they'll lay out in front and let you walk across them.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah, that I thought would be a fun one, especially good.
Yeah,
if
you've
you
got
have
your chase scene. And you've got your chase scene where people are trying to really quickly make it across the bridge, but there's too much weight being pressed on it. So then they fall down into the gorge. They're being washed away by the rapids. And
now you also feel bad for the bridge. They've got to save the bridge pieces. That's never an element in that thing. Who cares about the bridge? But now you're like, I care about the bridge.
Yeah.
Save the bridge!
Yeah, the bridge has a life that's at stake here.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I think that one's a fun one. We touched on the firebug. That's as a light source, but that one's one that I don't think people got right very at all. That's a struggle one, because fire I feel might have gotten banned at some point as being used as an element, just because they've had too much trouble with it. But I do think it's a fun one.
And then that crazy guy who's living on the mountain. It's I'm surrounded by stone on my mountain. I can do what I want with fire.
Exactly.
And then one of them escapes.
Exactly. So that I think it's a fun creature to keep in mind for the scientist guy to make, but not one that would be prominent in the mainland.
Yeah, we don't have to limit it to bugs. We can have it be.
I don't think the bridge
a
people were
mouse.
bugs.
I'm thinking that we can have it be a mouse is running around on fire.
That's true.
The thing it touches on fire.
Yeah.
And it's oh, now we gotta find a way to catch this flaming mouse.
Yeah, it could be anything that you want.
The thing is, everything gets set on fire it has now essentially created camouflage for itself.
No, but there could be something worse. I mean, I don't know how destructive this would be, and probably is a bad idea. But if that's the way that this guy decided to make it reproduce is by setting, like, a similar thing to it on fire, do you know how bad that could get so fast?
Oh, the bridges.
No,
Imagine the bridges.
no. I am now really emotionally attached to these bridges we created. We keep
So
just...
would they be like planks that is like, yeah, like stacks of planks like walking around in like a form of humans and are kind of floating, but they're connected by magic. I don't know how to describe it. Like, they're kind of like stick figures, and this like multiple stick figures layered on top of each other to create like thick layers of planks, like a single limb.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm describing this well.
Yeah, I was thinking.
They're walking around.
I was thinking they would kind of be like a thing, like they have like legs and arms when they walk around, but they have the ability to like stick them together so they're a straight plank, and then those planks have the ability to stick to other planks. Like they've got meshed with a sticky substance, and so they can stick together and hold your weight as you cross things.
I don't think that they need a sticky substance. I think that they can just be held together by magic.
That's a valid
point. Magic is like a binding force.
That's a valid point. But, someone might have added sticky substance just for the funsies.
Sap.
Yeah. If you want sticky substance. Yeah, sap. Oh, true. Sap. Yeah, but I think people get the idea, though, of, like, the possibilities. I feel like we've made it quite clear that the possibilities are literally endless, and that's why it should be a TV show.
I want a unicorn. What's the unicorn made of?
I mean, it's just, like, a unicorn with... Oh, I don't know. You always want unicorns. You have an obsession.
We could just say they took a horse and infused it with magic and it grew a horn.
Yeah. Well, it could be... I don't know. I don't think...
Horses already have magic.
Yeah, no, wait.
All life runs on magic.
Actually,
so horse already has magic.
Isaac, I think you made a good point. I think there should be a limit. I think once there's life, you can't modify it. You can either fully take it away, or you could just let it live. But I think once you install... That's why it's such an important process to, like, experiment safely and stuff. Because once you put the life in them, I don't think you're able to modify it. This keeps people from modifying humans.
Okay. Yeah, otherwise it'd be like, oh, humans, what are we gonna do when we're out in the wilderness and we need to survive and stuff? Well, let's just give ourselves, like, claws, sharp teeth, extra muscles.
Yeah.
Like, basically... Because humans are weak.
Yeah,
like,
and
compared to all the animals out there, humans are just weak. We are like the bottom of the food chain.
Yeah.
The reason we survived is because we're smart enough to build things.
Yeah, but this also makes it so that way our protagonists, when they're dealing with these random animal creatures, can't just touch them and like say, okay, the fire, you're no longer on fire, or anything. Like they're stuck with that fire creature. They can't just, they can kill it, but that's a moral question that they have to always deal with. And like that could be a huge, this is no longer a PG show thing, where a character has to face where they have like probably a fire creature, to be honest. These things are unstable for a reason and banned in this area for a reason, where they don't have a choice. They have to take the life of this creature because they just can't tame it. And like that's a huge thing that sticks with them forever, because you are killing something.
I imagine, like, it might even, for some people, it might even be kind of like killing your own child or your own baby, because it's like, I made this thing, I love this thing, but it's gotta go.
But then again, we have the water bugs, where we're like...
It's like cattle.
Yeah.
It's like, kill the cattle, eat the food.
Yeah.
Yeah, because kind of like how they see water bugs.
Yeah, that's what we have. So there's a lot of moral issues here, like, how much, if you create this creature, it can... But we have those exact same questions, so showing them in this show actually makes the show have like a bigger purpose of like the morals of killing and when it's okay and is it ever okay, or should we all become vegetarians, or is there a purpose, like if you're thirsty and you need water and the water bugs are there and that was why they were created, then doesn't it make sense to use them for what they're created? Like all these questions, these moral questions that the show can hit, and it doesn't have to answer any of them, it just has to point them out. And it can do that really well. And I think this is why I want this to be a TV show. Like, this is a good time to reiterate, we don't own these ideas. We have put them out for free use. So if by some miracle a producer has seen this and has taken inspiration and has the ability to, like, make this into an actual TV show, we would like credit for inspiration, would be cool. But even then, I don't care. I want to see this be a show more than I want credit for something. Because this sounds so cool.
Yeah, if you just make the show and then we watch it, we will just scream on our podcast, "We came up with that!
Guys, there's shows
We
on...
recognize that! We did it first!"
Yeah, and then we will advertise the heck out of it. We'll be like, guys, the show. And we wouldn't, but like happily. Like, we won't fight. We will just be like, our world is real, guys! And that goes for any shows and anyone who wants to use it. If you want to write a book, write a poem, write a short story, get it published, and make money off of it, and we see it, we are going to be just happy and excited to see our ideas. Because we don't have the ability to turn all these worlds into the things we want to. So if you do have that
kind of time.
Yeah. So because we make too many, we make one of these a week. We can't do it. These children need real parents, and we can't be that parent. We can just be the excited sibling who's like cheering them on. Uncle, aunt,
Yeah.
uncle and aunt. We can be uncle and aunt to these our little yeah, and we will cheer them on. And if we'd appreciate
We're the
acknowledgement.
parents
Just
giving
saying,
them up for adoption.
we are, and anyone could take them and do what they want with them. That's a dangerous thing, I know. You could do some crazy stuff with them, but at the same time, the purpose of this podcast is to inspire creativity and world creation in any way we can. So go out and do
Also,
that.
it's just a fun exercise for us.
Yeah, keeps us on top of things. So, and I want to see this as a TV show. I don't often have a world where I'm sitting here like, I want to see it, and I want to see it specifically in this form. But this is one where I'm like, I want this to be a TV show so bad. So.
I did not think we were really going to get anywhere with these water bugs. We did.
I'm happy. I'm proud. I love this world. It's cute.
We started off with water bugs, and we got like a full-on world with like epic story, fun characters. We got a
moral questions.
Interesting series here.
Yeah, moral questions, drama, a way where you can have an easy episode structure. Like, this is it. This is a TV show, and it's beautiful, and I love it. But we do need to sign off. So we will. This is where we'll say goodbye to our world and send it off into the earth, and hopefully someone will find it and make it into the beautiful thing we know it can be. But yeah, we're gonna say goodbye here, guys. So bye.
I'm trying to think of a fun way to say bye.
You're gonna have these things planned out. You could.